you guys. We're going to be learning about weight today. So similar to what we did last week where we were talking about the abbreviations for weight and what their dimensions were, we're now going to be converting them into, similar to Monday's lesson, we're going to be converting them into other measurements. So let's look at the first one. The first one will be our ounces. And if you remember from last week, the abbreviation is OZ period. And while I'm doing my anchor chart, remember if you want to do it in pencil first and then go back, sometimes that's helpful, or just doing your anchor chart in pencil in case there's any mistakes that you need to fix. As you know, I always do my anchor charts in pencil first. So I'm going to tell you about ounces. So when I think of ounces, I think of course things that are liquid, because that's how we measure most liquids. And I think of a cup. And in my cup, there's 8 ounces. So the same as saying 1 cup. 1 cup is the same as 8 ounces. Now, if I were talking about pounds, so 1 pound, so my abbreviation, LB period. So if I am talking about pounds, but I'm also talking about abbreviations, I'm going to talk about it in ounces, and I'm going to convert it from 1 pound to 16 ounces. So if I wanted to say how many cups are in 1 pound, I would have to think in 1 cup there's 8 ounces, in 2 cups there's 16 ounces, and 16 ounces would be the same as 1 pound. So basically, if I needed to figure out how to convert cups to pounds, but I only knew ounces, I could figure out how many ounces there are in cups, which would equal 1 pound. So we have our ounces, we have our pounds, and then finally we have our tons. So tons are the heavy things. If you think about kind of like cars or elephants, those you measure in tons, and their abbreviation is just a T. So if I need to think how many tons equal in pounds, I would have to convert it into 2,000 pounds. So 1 ton is the same as saying something weighs 2,000 pounds. That's a lot of weight. And that's why we don't weigh, you know, an elephant or a car or a truck, I should say, a large truck in pounds, or we don't do it in ounces because that would just take too long. So let's look. Here are some examples of what we're going to do for our work today in your 13-3. So one of the questions asks about converting tons into pounds. So I first need to kind of review and think, okay, 1 ton is the same as 2,000 pounds. So I can kind of go through and start doing my pattern. Can you start to see a pattern here? So each time I add on my new pounds, I'm counting by 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 8,000 pounds, 5 tons, then after 8, 10,000 pounds, and then I get to 6 tons, and that's 12,000 pounds. And then I get to 7 tons, which is 14. And then I get to finally my 8 tons, which would be 16,000 pounds. So there I go. So then I know basically 8 tons is the same as saying 16,000 pounds. All right, and of course we can multiply if we want to solve that. But for right now, I just want you to kind of see the pattern on how to do that. The other thing I want to look at is today you're going to have greater than, less than, and on your keyboard there'll be your, it's right by the M. It should be right by the M. Yours may be a little different than mine, but the greater than, less than, you're going to hit the, I believe, the shift button, play around with it just to see, and you're going to need to tell me which one is greater. And this one I love. This is one of the examples, and it's the same number, but with different measurement. So we have a pound and we have an ounce. So think about which one is greater? Well, we know pounds are heavier than ounces. So right away, we see that they're the same exact number. So since they're the same exact number, you can kind of cross that out and think, well, pound and ounce, which one's bigger? And we know that pounds are, of course, heavier or greater than the other. The other thing they're going to want you to do here on today's homework is here's 19 pounds, and then they'll have the circle, so you'll have to decide greater than, less than, and then say 300 ounces. So then you have to think, okay, well, how many pounds are in an ounce? So 1 pound equals 16 ounces. So I need to think, how many 16 ounces are in the number 300? So I would kind of divide into, let's see, 16 into 300 and think about how many of these pounds. Because 16 of them equal 1 pound. So let's find out how many pounds there are in 300. And it may not match up, but it'll get me close enough to see which one's greater than. So let's see, that would be 1, because I can't divide it by 2, because that would equal 32. So 16 times 1, 16. So I'm doing our mommy, daddy, sister, brother step, remember that? All right, so 16, and then I'm going to subtract sister. Bigger bottom, better borrow, 2, 10, 4, 1, 4. And then I have to think 16 times what number gets me as close to 140. And this one I will double check because I love to double check anyway. So let's see, 54, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Too big, so 8. And then 48, so I'm going to double check, 16. 8, 48, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 128. So I know that this number, this is going to be about 18 something, because there's going to be the decimal point. So 28, let's see, bigger bottom, better borrow, with about 18.12. This will be 18.12 pounds. So I was trying to figure out how many 16s go into. So just looking at, I have 19 pounds and I have 18 pounds. So just by looking at those, I know that 19 is greater than 18. So that's how I would solve that. All right, today's lesson, these were 3 of the answers. I think there's only about 6 or 7. So still go through, write it out. I think that's always good. And then just make sure you use the text box to answer it, and I will be able to see. You don't need to share it with me. All right, I will talk to you later. Bye.